Greetings fellow cultivators. Welcome to Oscar Nova. Remember to like and subscribe to support the journey. Today, we're diving into the story of what's the point of cultivating immortality if you don't have money. Xiong Yu simply waved his hands rapidly in front of his face. When he looked with his original left eye, he saw after images created by the rapid movement of his hands. But when he looked with his demonic eye of temporal remains in his right eye, he could clearly see the rapidly moving hand, with every line on the palm so clear, as if the hand had slowed down. Especially as Xiong Yu's attention continued to focus, this feeling of the world slowing down became more and more obvious. At the same time, Xiong Yu could also feel the demonic eye of temporal remains further, absorbing the mana in his body to maintain its operation. Xiong Yu secretly estimated in his heart the stronger the slowing effect, the more mana it consumes. In the case of extreme slowing, the entire world appears to be slowed down tenfold in my eyes. And with my current mana, combined with the continuous recovery of mana from the key C spiritual root, I can probably maintain it for an hour. Xiong Yu nodded slightly. This temporal ability was very similar to the full concentration of the heavenly martial heart refining art, but it was more controllable, saw things more clearly, had a greater degree of slowing, and the duration was far longer. With a thought, he withdrew from the temporal effect, and the world in his eyes returned to normal speed. Then Xiong Yu raised his hands and feet, and felt a sense of weakness throughout his body. This was because with the removal of the fled dragon's spiritual pivot, the temporary level 1 increase in physical strength that it brought was also gone. After moving his hands and feet, Xiong Yu thought to himself anyway, it was only temporary power. The sooner it's gone, the sooner I can get used to it. On the other side, Bai Zhenzhen had also completed the surgery. With a movement of her figure, she shot out with a gust of wind, appearing in every corner of the room, as if teleporting, leaving behind after images. Bai Zhenzhen smiled and said, "Yuzi. This thing is so useful." But the next moment, Bai Zhenzhen stopped with an ouch. No, my mana is about to be drained, and my muscles and bones can't take it anymore. Xiong Yu said, as in, we have enough money now. Find a time to prepare for foundation establishment. Bai Zhenzhen nodded expectantly. As long as she bought the heavenly spiritual root, and with the cover of the heavenly spiritual root, she could use the true spiritual root for foundation establishment. Starfire True Man, who was at the side, instructed the two on the precautions for using the magic bones, before they left together. When they walked out of the Oasis building, Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenzhen thanked Starfire True Man repeatedly, and offered to transfer money to thank him for his help. You want to give me a reward? Starfire True Man looked at Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenzhen, and a realization suddenly flashed in his mind. He smiled and said, you two little devils are worried that I have ulterior motives, and want to sign a contract with you, or exploit you like Wang Yun, so you want to test me. Looking at the changes in Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenzhen's expressions, Starfire True Man continued, not bad vigilance. I hope you will maintain it in the future. But don't worry, I don't have that kind of idea for the time being. Even if I originally had it, I don't have it now. Starfire True Man explained, after all, you two are not Yu Xinglan. With your potential, you will definitely shine in the university in the future. Even if I bind you with chains and sign an exploitative contract with you, it will only provoke dissatisfaction from the big shots who want to invest in you in the future. At that time, I will become a thorn in their side, an obstacle that they must overcome before they want to invest in you. It's like greedily occupying too many shares in a very promising startup company, and refusing to let go, eventually becoming trapped and being dealt with by the big shots. Starfire True Man smiled. Moreover, I'm just giving you some guidance, not investing money in you. If you can recognize me as your master, and remember to mention my name, after you become famous in the future, I will be satisfied. Hearing Starfire True Man's explanation, Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenzhen looked at each other and bowed together, saying, Master. Starfire True Man nodded in satisfaction. I rushed over here, while stealing some time from my busy schedule, and now I have to go back to work overtime. You guys first study the foundation establishment techniques you have acquired, and I will start guiding you in today's. After taking a look at Starfire True Man's departing back, Bai Zhenzhen turned to look at Xiong Yu and asked, Yuzi, what do we do next? Xiong Yu thought for a while and said, let's pay back the money first. After we pay it back, we'll help you with foundation establishment. So in the next few days, Xiong Yu took the time to pay back the money one by one at 1.3 times the amount. according to the details of the loan. And as the Oasis Group's subsequent reward of 36 million was transferred to their accounts, it also gave Xiong more confidence to repay the loans. In addition to this 1.3 times loan, he and Bai Zhenjun also paid off all the previous loans from various platforms in one go, and there were no more debts. After paying off a total of nearly 80 million, Zhang Yu's account was almost empty. However, the money in Bai Zhenjun's account was still very sufficient, enough for her to purchase the heavenly spiritual route. So after the heavenly spiritual route arrived, and after spending more than 40 minutes, Bai Zhenjun's mana soared, and bursts of strange noises came from the muscles in her body. Finally, accompanied by the crazy agitation of spiritual energy, she finally stepped into Foundation Establishment. As Bai Zhenjun stepped into Foundation Establishment, a cyan mark appeared on her lower abdomen, slowly blooming like a cyan lotus. At the same time, the spiritual root in Bai Zhenjun's Dantian also quickly transformed from a seed into a delicate cyan lotus, completely merging with her. Bai Zhenjun frowned and said somewhat uncomfortably, "I feel like the true spiritual root seems to be evolving again." She said somewhat uncertainly, "This evolution might turn into a divine spiritual root." Zhang Yu was shocked when he heard this, and Fuqi said in a panic, "Why so suddenly? Can you suppress it?" Bai Zhenjun took a deep breath, her face flushed red, and the aura on her body was sometimes visible, and sometimes hidden. After a long time, the originally blooming cyan lotus gradually closed up. Bai Zhenjun finally let out a long breath and said, "I can still suppress it." Fuqi sighed. A natural spiritual route that can evolve is already an object that the 10 great sects and the 8 divine departments are strictly monitoring. If this turns into a divine spiritual route, the consequences are really hard to predict. Zhang Yu asked with concern, "Zhen, can you hold on?" Bai Zhenjun smiled and patted her stomach, saying, "Isn't it just holding back the spiritual root? It's not like I haven't held it back before. It's a piece of cake." The next day, in a training ground in the city center, Starfire True Man looked at the two who had arrived, and suddenly his whole body burst into flames, as if a sea of fire was about to engulf them. Seeing the two of them instantly looking extremely serious, their original confident and high-spirited temperament was also suppressed. Starfire True Man thought to himself, having achieved today's achievements in the high school stage, confidence and pride are inevitable. Even in the next 9 months, if they continue to be praised by these guys, it is not impossible to become arrogant and self-willed. Entering university with this mentality, being defeated by the geniuses above and then being trampled on severely, may lead to a slump. Instead of being attacked after going up, it is better for me to attack you and give you a preventative shot in advance. As he spoke, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjun only felt that the temperature in the air was getting higher and higher. The air taken in with each breath seemed to be burning their lungs. Starfire True Man then said, "Leisurely Foundation Establishment is indeed a remarkable figure on the first floor, but after going to the second floor, it is nothing remarkable. After you enter Allah's University, you will definitely be selected into the Foundation Establishment class. At that time, your classmates will definitely be students from all levels who have completed Foundation Establishment in the high school stage. Unlike you who lack resources to continue improving after Foundation Establishment on the first floor, they can still continue to improve rapidly with the resources from above after completing Foundation Establishment in high school. So after you enter the Foundation Establishment class of the university, you may find that you have become a student in the middle and lower ranks, or even the lowest rank. You will inevitably encounter setbacks, repeated insults, and discrimination from the people above against the people on the first floor." Listening to Starfire True Man's words, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjun gradually calmed down. The impetuous atmosphere that had risen in the past few days, due to various gains, praise, and compliments, seemed to have dissipated a lot at this moment. Starfire True Man nodded slightly, and then said, "I am telling you this not to make you accept your fate, but to make you correct your mentality and not be discouraged after going up. Your talents are very good, and every bit of your efforts is useful. Don't let down your past efforts." After teaching the two a lesson, Starfire True Man began his real guidance. He said the conditions on the first floor are limited, and there are not many things that can help Foundation Establishment. I thought about it. In the next 9 months, you will continue to practice the techniques, and I will mainly use the most primitive methods to increase your efficiency in improving Dao heart, mana, and physical strength. After all, I haven't been in contact with undergraduate education for a long time, and I don't know what the process is for freshmen now. But in any case, as long as you consolidate your foundation in the next 9 months, and continuously improve the basic data, it will definitely make your university practice easier. Xiong Yu asked doubtfully, what does the primitive method refer to? Starfire Truman showed a grim smile, and said, for example, for Dao Heart training, you will directly face the impact of my martial arts will to temper your will. Of course, this is just the beginning. After you are used to it enough, I will start to attack you from time to time. Zhang Yuan by Zhenjin, were shocked. You? Attack us? Starfire Truman smiled slightly, and his martial arts will, like a raging fire, swept out and charged towards Zhang Yu, and by Zhenjin, like a storm. Looking at Zhang Yu, and by Zhenjin, sweating profusely, and their faces changing wildly, Starfire Truman said, lightly maintaining tension and caution at all times, and being prepared for a battle of life and death at all times, in this state can accelerate the improvement of your Dao heart. Although this method is very primitive, the conditions on the first floor are simple, and it is just right to use it on you. Zhang Yu felt the substantial impact of the martial intent, as if it wanted to incinerate his flesh, internal organs, bones, soul, consciousness, everything he was, into ashes. In that instant of contact, Zhang Yu felt like he was on the verge of death. The difference between them was simply too great. At the same time, real person Xinghuo's voice exploded in his ears. Activate your cultivation methods, use your will to resist my martial intent. Zhang Yu fully activated the remnant ox sacrifice heart sutra, and along with the roar of the white ox in his mind, waves of fighting spirit surged from his heart. Scenes of past struggles, desperate resistance, and deadly battles with Wang Yin continuously flashed through Zhang Yu's mind. On the other side, looking at the two people who were gritting their teeth and persevering under the impact of his martial intent, real person Xinghe nodded slightly and temporarily withdrew his martial intent. Rest for 30 seconds, then continue. 30 seconds later, violent intent was released from real person Xinghuo's body again. This time, Zhang Yu no longer felt like he was engulfed in flames, but rather a domineering pressure, as if the air had become 1,000, 10,000 times heavier in an instant, as if it wanted to crush his bones and force him to kneel. Real person Xinghe said coldly, hold on, don't kneel. This was different from the kind and amiable manner of a senior. After guiding Zhang Yuan by Zhenjin in their training, real person Xinghe was filled with an aura of majesty, just like a general on the battlefield. Every order, every reminder, seemed irresistible. In the following time, real person Xinghe repeatedly bombarded the two with his martial intent, forcing Zhang Yuan by Zhenjin to activate their cultivation methods and resist with all their strength. Each time real person Xinghe released his martial intent, it was different. Sometimes Zhang Yu felt like he was being burned by fire, sometimes like he was being squeezed by the atmosphere, sometimes like he was being pierced by 10,000 swords, and sometimes like his thoughts were frozen. Various martial intents came at him, and Zhang Yu couldn't help but sigh in his heart, how many cultivation methods does this old geezer actually know? He can switch between various cultivation methods so naturally, doesn't he suffer from split personality? During this process of tempering his Dao heart and cultivation methods, Zhang Yu felt like he was a long sword, and real person Xinghuo's martial intent was like a whetstone. Through repeated sharpening, the long sword became sharper and more tempered. Zhang Yu could clearly feel that this kind of training was indeed several times more effective than practicing the cultivation methods alone. Dao Heart, Level 11. Remnant Ox Sacrifice Heart Sutra, Level 11. Real person Xinghe looked at the pale faces of the two, who were already swaying, and stopped releasing his martial intent. He said indifferently, all right, you two are almost at your limits today, continuing will damage your spirits. But the cultivation methods must continue to be activated, especially remember the feeling of resisting the pressure just now. Maintaining this feeling, maintaining this tension, will allow you to improve your Dao heart more efficiently in normal times. As real person Xinghe left, Zhang Yuan by Zhenjin suddenly collapsed to the ground, feeling a sense of exhaustion even though their bodies hadn't moved much. In the following days, real person Xinghe would occasionally call Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin over for a round of training. The method he used to guide Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin was just as he said, very primitive, but very effective. If Zhang Yu were to describe it, it would be a cost-effective training method for the poor. But this cost-effectiveness was also built on real person Xinghuo's presence. Zhang Yu thought to himself, if real person Xinghe were to charge fees, I don't know how much it would cost. Anyway, Zhen and I definitely couldn't afford it. Zhang Yu was deeply grateful for the kindness of this golden core, real person, who was willing to take the time to guide them for free. He secretly thought in his heart, thank you, old geezer. When I climb up in the future, I will definitely make your name resound throughout Kongshu. Under the guidance of real person Xinghe, Zhang Yu, and Bai Zhenjian's now hearts and physical strength steadily improved every day, far exceeding the efficiency of cultivating alone. As for the mana, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjian had other arrangements. This day, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjian came to the protected area, and the two of them directly swiped their faces one after the other to pass through the gate. They were familiar with the road and came to the foot of a mountain, as if they had been here many times. The mountain in front of them was one of the important spiritual vein nodes in the protected area, a place that was once out of reach for Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjian, a place they didn't even dare to think about. But now, they could not only breathe freely in the protected area, but also enter the mountain to cultivate. It's just that before entering the mountain each time, Zhang Yu had some tasks to complete, and he needed to deliver goods according to the requirements of Red Pagoda, Dragon Dong. Watching Zhang Yu walk into the toilet next to him, Bai Zhenjian waited outside the toilet, and began to breathe in and out. But after waiting for a long time, Bai Zhenjian finally couldn't help but urge, "Are you done yet?" She said, somewhat dissatisfied. "Why are you taking longer and longer now? I've been waiting for almost half an hour." Zhang Yu's somewhat annoyed voice came from inside. "It'll be done soon. What are you rushing me for? Think about who has been dedicating themselves time and time again, so that you can cultivate in the spiritual vein." Bai Zhenjian rolled her eyes and suggested, "Then next time, can you bring it over after you're done at home?" Zhang Yu said, "Do you think I don't want to? Red Pagoda Company requires it to be fresh." After waiting for more than 10 minutes, Bai Zhenjian thought to herself, Yuzi, this guy is really, he still hasn't cut it off after establishing his foundation. After establishing the foundation, the physical strength is further comprehensively improved. Wouldn't that evil root also grow bigger and bigger? Wouldn't it be further nourished and become stronger and stronger? In the future, if he continues to refine his body and continue to nurture this thing, I don't know how much nutrition, how much energy, how much spiritual energy will be consumed on it. I don't know how much time and energy will be wasted on it. It's simply a malignant tumor on the road to immortality. But then again, this thing does have its merits. At least it allows us to cut in line, to cultivate in the spiritual vein. Once we get up there, we'll be poor again. Maybe it can serve as our emergency fund at a crucial moment. Bai Zhenjian pondered for a moment and came up with a compromise. How about we help Yuzi make it detachable? Like his eyes. Attach it when needed, lock it up when not. That way, we won't have to worry about this tumor consuming too much nutrition and energy, hindering Yuzi's body refinement progress. We're family, after all. If he can't make up his mind, should I just give him a hand? Bai Zhenjian believed that Zhang Yu would understand her. After all, I see a hint of helplessness and regret on Yuzi's face every time he's done with it. He definitely wants to solve this problem in his heart, but he just can't bring himself to make the decision. Just as Bai Zhenjian was secretly planning how to help her brother, Zhang Yu slowly walked out of the toilet. All done, let's go. Zhang Yu waved his hand, a hint of pride on his face, and led Bai Zhenjian through the entrance to the spiritual vein. The overwhelming spiritual energy surged towards them, causing the spiritual roots in their bodies to tremble, feeling an indescribable sense of comfort throughout their bodies. Zhang Yu felt that only when he entered the spiritual vein to breathe in and out, could his Qi Si, spiritual, root, and Azure's vortex Qi, technique, truly show their strengths, no longer as stifled as they were in the past. Yes, stifled. Since stepping into the foundation establishment stage, Zhang Yu had felt a sense of stifling every day, feeling that the spiritual energy in this world was so thin, and the air was so stale. The spiritual vein is still the best. However, when he thought about the time he had just spent to get in, Zhang Yu felt a little self-reproach. It was indeed a bit of a waste of time. But it's not my fault. I've already tried my best. Looking at Bai Zhenjian beside him, Zhang Yu suddenly blushed and turned his head away. Bai Zhenjian, who was taking a deep breath, raised an eyebrow, sensed Zhang Yu's gaze, and asked in confusion, "If you have something to say, just say it." Zhang Yu stammered, "Actually, about that I thought of a way to speed things up." Bai Zhenjian asked curiously, "What way?" Zhang Yu turned his head away, his face red, and finally took a deep breath and said, never mind. As Zhang Yuan by Zhenjin walked towards the depths of the spiritual vein, Fuji felt a bitterness she couldn't express. Guys, why don't you ask how I feel? Do you think it's okay for me to accompany Zhang Yu like this? Damn it, you should pay me a viewing fee. Damn it, if I ask to follow by Zhenjin, it will definitely arouse suspicion from this kid Zhang Yu, who will think I'm up to no good. Oh well, I'll just treat it as watching Animal World. After Zhang Yu arrived at the depths of the spiritual vein, he began to circulate the newly cultivated Azure Vortex Key technique. This foundation establishment staged breathing technique could form a vortex with mana. With continuous breathing, it could continuously increase the range of spiritual energy absorption until its own limit. At this moment, with the cooperation of the Key C spiritual root, Zhang Yu directly increased the range of spiritual energy absorption to a distance of 100 meters around him. At this moment, Zhang Yu was like a huge loophole, frantically attracting the spiritual energy in the spiritual vein to continuously pour in. Zhang Yu thought to himself, although this Azure Vortex Key technique cannot be circulated at all times, like the Great Sun Key C, cultivating with this method in the spiritual vein for a few hours each time is equivalent to several days of hard work with the Great Sun Key C. The efficiency is still higher. Especially since I haven't pushed this Azure Vortex Key technique to the highest level yet, the efficiency of refining mana will definitely be even stronger in the future. Mana 200.5. Azure Vortex Key technique level 10. Finally level 10. Zhang Yu sensed the Azure Vortex Key technique reaching level 10 and could feel strands of vortexes surrounding his body, frantically devouring the surrounding spiritual energy. After level 10, the mana vortex manifests, which can further increase the range of spiritual energy absorption. With the cooperation of my Key C spiritual root, the range of my spiritual root absorption has now increased to 150 meters. Not long after Bai Zhenjin and Zhang Yu entered the entrance of the spiritual vein. Accompanied by the whistling of flying swords and the surging of battle spiritual roots, a fully armed security force had surrounded the toilet that Zhang Yu had just used while riding on a flying boat. Several staff members wearing protective suits walked into the toilet, and after a while, they walked out holding a huge armored box, and under the solemn gaze of the surrounding security team members, they carried the armored box onto the flying boat. Just when Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin were immersed in the cultivation of the foundation establishment stage, wholeheartedly devoting themselves to consolidating their foundations, improving their Dao hearts, mana, and physical strength. On the other hand, some waves occurred in the handling of the Oasis group. On this day, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin had just finished receiving guidance from True Person, Xinghe, when they received a call from Patrol Captain Yun Ni. Yun Ni said when Yuan Kai and his group were fighting before, didn't a mysterious expert suddenly attack Bai Zhenjin? After investigating, it has been 100% confirmed that this expert, who was killed by you in the law enforcement action, was Xiong of the Zhu family. Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin's expressions changed slightly when they heard this news. They both knew that the Zhu family seemed to have an evil god behind them. Yun Ni continued next, the patrol team will thoroughly investigate the Zhu family. After all, you two are the parties involved. I'm just here to ask for your opinions. Zhang Yu said directly, do you want to thoroughly investigate the Zhu family? Can Ajen and I go with you? Inside the Zhu family mansion, patrol members were coming and going everywhere. The entire mansion was turned upside down in the search, and the Zhu family members being taken away were pale and disheartened. Xiong is crazy. It has nothing to do with us. We didn't collude with the Oasis group. Where is your captain? I know your captain. Zhang Yu stood aside, watching the Zhu family members being taken away, feeling both emotional and nervous. I wonder if the patrol team will find out about the evil god behind the Zhu family, and whether it will involve me and Asian. Perhaps Xiong was too good at hiding the evil god. After a search, the patrol team failed to find any information about the evil god, but instead found a secret hideout of Xiong. Arriving deep in the sewer system of Songyang City, Yun Ni looked at the underground works in front of her and introduced, this is a place secretly sponsored and built by Xiong himself. If we hadn't thoroughly investigated all his personal belongings this time, we really wouldn't have found this. With a bang, the underground works in front of them were violently opened by the patrol members. Everyone swarmed in and began a thorough search of the interior. Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin followed Yun Ni all the way to the deepest part, where they saw countless coils, antiques, chains, and other objects circling around, with a hard drive in the very center. Seeing this scene, Fuji immediately transmitted a voice to Zhang Yu's mind. It's a ritual. A ritual to suppress the evil god. This Zhu Yang actually suppressed his evil god here. Damn it, this dog is really brave. At the same time, Yunni walked around the hard drive and said, this seems to be a ritual. Fuji reminded Zhang Yu. Touch this hard drive, I'll try to eat this evil god. If these patrol team guys take away my colleague, what if this guy knows about our existence? That would be troublesome. Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin first used the power of detecting rituals in their bodies to check for cameras around them. After confirming the location and angle of the surrounding cameras, the two looked at each other, and the next moment Bai Zhenjin pointed to a camera in the corner and said, "What's that? It seems to have moved." Just as everyone turned to look, Zhang Yu had already activated the Shi can demonize Shi can ability. To him, the whole world seemed to slow down all of a sudden. The expressions, gazes, and movements of everyone around him were now clearly reflected in Zhang Yu's eyes, including the camera's perspective, which was also calculated by him. While everyone was turning their heads, Zhang Yu took advantage of the blind spot in the camera's view and gently placed his palm on the hard drive from an angle that the camera could not capture. With Zhang Yu's foundation building realm skills, coupled with the assistance of the Shikin Demoni, when Yunni and others turned back, they did not notice anything unusual. Yunni said excitedly, that should be the camera installed by Xiong. Immediately have someone download the records from it to see if there's anything useful. At the same time, Fuji's weak voice entered the minds of Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin. I forcibly pull this guy over to me. Next, I will slowly suppress him, and then digest him. I may need to sleep for a while. After saying these words, Fuji's voice completely disappeared without a trace, and there was no more response. Zhang Yu thought to himself, after Fuji wakes up this time, the feather book should be able to open a new chapter, right? Thinking of this, Zhang Yu couldn't help but look forward to it, but he didn't know how long Fuji would be sleeping this time. He thought to himself, this time, the evil god was forcibly pulled over, so it will probably take even longer to digest than last time. Next, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin continued to search with the patrol team. Yunni had already confirmed Ji Yang's status as a cultist from some ritual traces. But to Yunni's regret, the cameras on site only recorded a maximum of 7 days of surveillance footage, and nothing useful was found from it. Also, the existence of the evil god was not found in the entire base. Yunni suspected that the other party had already left. Zhang Yu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Xiong had not left any information about himself and Bai Zhenjin, thinking that he didn't have to try to destroy any evidence. The Zhu family's matter came to an end for the time being, and Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin waited for Fuji's awakening, while continuing to devote themselves to cultivation. Inside the training ground in the city center, with a crackling sound, real man Xinghuo's fingertip gently pressed on Zhang Yu's chest, and the latter flew out instantly. At the same time, real man Xinghe flicked Bai Zhenjin's palm with his other hand, sending her flying hundreds of meters away. Seeing that the two slowed down, real man Xinghe frowned and said, "Don't stop, speed up." Bai Zhenjin flashed, and with the activation of the formless wind demon, she stepped on the wind and rushed towards real man Xinghe again. Real man Xinghe reminded, "Don't stop the body refining technique, keep the force running to the end at all times. After the college entrance examination, you will go to the second level. And at this moment, those geniuses above are widening the gap between you every day. You must seize every second to slightly shorten the gap between you and those geniuses above." At this moment, real man Xinghe was not conducting actual combat training with the two, but using himself as a training tool to temper the strength of their bodies. He was like an endless ocean, bringing tremendous pressure to the two, and with the operation of their body refining techniques, he frantically increased the resistance, increasing the burden and effect of their body refining. Zhang Yu felt that the other party was repeatedly pressing on the weak points of his body, repeatedly increasing the burden of his body refining, and increasing the effect of the exercise. He was like a big iron hammer, repeatedly hammering his muscles and bones all over his body, removing impurities and refining him more and more purely and powerfully. Spring and Autumn Endless Zen Level 18. Body Strength Level 10.52. Real man Xinghe looked at the two lying on the ground panting, and thought to himself, what a terrifying speed of progress. Especially this kid Xiong Yu, his spring and autumn endless zen, will reach level 20 before graduating from high school if he continues to practice like this, right? This kind of comprehension of the technique is simply incredible. Even if it's not the legendary martial saint body, I'm afraid it's not far off. I'm really looking forward to seeing him when he steps into the golden core, or even the nascent soul stage, in the future. Thinking of this, real man Xiong sighed secretly, but with the remaining years of my life, I'm afraid I won't live to see the day when they completely rise. The latest novel is at 6-9 book bar first release. But at least the seeds I have sown in them in the past 9 months should have a day to take root and sprout in the future. If real man Xinghuo's guidance to Xiong Yu, and by Zhenjin, was completely selfless and purely out of appreciation, then he himself would not believe it. It's just that the funds invested in Yu Xing'an are constrained by contracts. In real man Xinghuo's view, what he invested in Xiong Yu and by Zhenjin was something called favor to maintain. These days, there are fewer and fewer people in Kongshu who still remember old feelings. Real man Xinghe thought to himself, it's very different from when I was young. Today's Kongshu, today's cultivators, almost only talk about interests, not feelings. People who still talk about the old ways have either died of old age, or have been eliminated, just like old guys like me. But Xiong Yu may be an exception. Although I won't live to see the day when they rise, I hope my investment in them will help Zuliang and Xing'an in the future. Time continued to pass quickly with Xiong Yu, and by Zhenjin's cultivation, and there were only half a year left before the college entrance examination. In the apartment on this day, Xiong Yu suddenly opened his eyes, and the remnant ox abandoning body and mind art in his mind roared. Remnant ox abandoning body and mind art level 20. Tao heart level 11. Xiong Yu felt that his thinking at this moment was as if it had penetrated into every cell in his body, and his flesh and blood all over his body became unprecedentedly active. Finally level 20. He looked at his hands and thought, after level 20, even if I lose an arm or a leg, I feel that my will can remain in the severed limb. This effect of level 20 can be called active residue. Even the flesh and blood that fall off my body can retain my will for a few minutes. As long as I pick it up again within these few minutes, it can grow back. And as my Tao heart level continues to increase, the effect of the remnant ox abandoning body and mind art should also get better and better. Feeling that his self-healing ability was becoming more and more powerful, a satisfied smile flashed across Xiong Yu's heart. After all, this meant that he was less and less afraid of being injured, and less likely to go to the hospital. Just then, the doorbell rang. Xiong Yu opened the apartment door, looked at Lemulin standing outside, and said, "You're here?" After leading Lemulin into the door, Xiong Yu asked, "Are you sure you don't want money?" Before, during the 1.3x donation, Lemulin lent Xiong Yu 5 million. But later, when Xiong Yu returned the money, Lemulin returned it, saying that she didn't want money, but something else. After Xiong Yu's repeated confirmation, he realized that she, like the Red Pagoda group, also wanted his seed. Although the money from the first level is useless to bring to the second level, 5 million can still be exchanged for some resources. For Xiong Yu, this 5 million is definitely more useful than his seed, and more valuable than his seed. After all, he is very clear that his strength has nothing to do with bloodline, but is a strength of soul and will. It's just that for Lemulin, this old friend, Xiong Yu still kindly reminded, "This thing. I don't feel it's of much use, you should still think about it carefully." Lemulin bit her lip and insisted, "I want this." Xiong Yu nodded, "Okay then, you wait a moment." Lemulin watched Xiong Yu turn and leave, and after waiting for a long time, she found that he had not returned. Just then, the phone vibrated, and Lemulin opened it to take a look. "Li Jingchen, did you get the juice?" "Li Jingchen, remember to make sure it's the real thing with your own eyes. The Red Pagoda hasn't been able to research any results yet. I suspect that Xiong Yu may have given a fake." Listening to Audio Nova. Looking at the message on his phone, Lemulin knew it was a message sent by her brother, using the company's private line. Lemulin knew that one of the purposes of the various powerful families cultivating their descendants to ascend to the second layer was to continuously connect with the companies on the second layer, to control more trade-related resources, information, and even the right to speak, in order to earn more profits in the trade between the first and second layers. After Li Jingchen finished the college entrance examination, and ascended to the second layer. He had obviously already joined the family members above and connected with the company. Even after he went to the second layer, he still cared about Xiong Yu's affairs. He even used the very rare opportunity to communicate, using the company's private line at this moment. Lemulin could feel that there were probably people above, who were also paying attention to Xiong Yu. At this moment, looking at the message sent by the other party, Lemulin thought, confirm the real thing. Lemulin felt that what the other party said made a lot of sense. As a rising star in Khonshu's first layer, Xiong Yu's various data and samples are naturally highly sought after, invaluable, and something that countless forces want to obtain. It is said that many powerful families from Xiandu traveled thousands of miles to Songyang just to seek the true seed, to optimize their bloodlines. However, although there are many people seeking various data and samples from Xiong Yu, after so long, no one has ever researched any valuable products from them. There are only a bunch of nutritional products, health products, and beauty products with Xiong Yu's name. After researching them, the Le family found that they were all scams. Lemulin thought to herself, Xiong Yu should be producing seeds now, right? I'll take a look. At worst, I'll be discovered and kicked out. Anyway, he didn't say I wasn't allowed to watch. Considering that this was such important goods, Lemulin thought about it and decided that she could only rest assured after confirming it with her own eyes. After all, it involves so many fields and markets such as medicine, genes, bloodlines, and physical modification. It also involves the family, and even my future development. Even if Xiong Yu blames me for not trusting him, I should still confirm it. Thinking of this, Lemulin couldn't bear it any longer, stood up and looked in the direction Xiong Yu had just left, which was the second floor of the apartment. There was a treasure worth a lot of money. A moment later, Lemulin was overjoyed. The real thing. As Lemulin watched, Xiong Yu seemed to feel something, and his gaze subconsciously swept towards the direction of the door. A trace of astonishment flashed across his face, and his body tensed up. Lemulin exclaimed in her heart, the treasure is about to fall to the ground. In that instant, Lemulin thought a lot. If it falls to the ground, will it be contaminated? If I give up this time, will the quality of the next production deteriorate, affecting the research results? Will Xiong Yu be angry and give me a fake next time? And right now this is a treasure that couldn't be more real. When Lemulin came back to her senses, she had already opened the door, knelt down on one knee, and stretched out her hands. In the quiet air, the two stared at each other for a while. Xiong Yu was furious. What the hell are you doing? Lemulin said, somewhat ashamed. I don't mean to distrust you. Xiong Yu, is this a question of trust? At the same time, Lemulin thought, so hot, such strong vitality. Seeing Xiong Yu stand up angrily, Lemulin quickly turned her back and said, I want this. Whenever Xiong Yu felt that he already understood the people of Khonshu very well, he would find that the people here could always break the bottom line in his heart again. Looking at Lemulin's appearance of guarding a secret treasure, Xiong Yu sighed and waved his hand helplessly. At least get a measuring cup. Don't forget to wash your hands. Lemulin shook her head and said, no need, I've sealed it with Genki. Then she smiled faintly and said, moreover, in the past 2 years, I have already overcome the flaws in my heart. Whether it's the poor or the rich, they can be converted at any time in my eyes now, and I can easily accept things from you without being shaken anymore. Xiong Yu opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. Lemulin continued, Xiong Yu, it was my fault this time. I will definitely apologize to you properly next time. She couldn't wait to take the things back quickly, apologized to Xiong Yu, and left in a hurry. Looking at the other party's leaving figure, Xiong Yu silently put on his pants and cursed in his heart the people here in Khonshu. As long as they can make money and become stronger, they really don't want their faces anymore. Huh. Xiong Yu looked at the doorknob and said angrily, I knew I had locked the door. Did she just break my doorknob and rush in? Just then, the phone vibrated again. Xiong Yu picked it up and saw that it was a message from Song Hailong about an endorsement activity. Xiong Yu had renewed his endorsement contract with Xianyuan Group during this time, planning to earn more money before leaving the first layer, at least enough to collect 50 million, which could be exchanged for 5 spirit coins when going to the second layer. Xiong Yu thought, I'll bring some supplies from the first layer with the extra money. Eating must be very expensive up there. I can bring more synthetic food with a long shelf life to save some money on food at the beginning. Time continued to pass quickly. On this day, true person Xing had taught Xiong Yu and Bai Zhenjin new things. True person Xinghe changed into a face made of flesh and blood, looking like a handsome and elegant middle-aged man. As the muscles on his face changed, he quickly turned from a handsome man into an ordinary-looking young man. True person Xinghe said to Zhang Yu, controlling muscles to change appearance and form, you should already know this. Although this technique is not difficult, whether in actual combat or in daily cultivation, sometimes it can have miraculous effects when used unexpectedly. True person Xinghe said with some emotion, when I was refining Qi and building the foundation, I relied on this unique skill of changing faces and transforming, to fight against many enemies alone, entering and exiting the security team 9 times, and finally successfully delivered the goods, and received payment. The newest and fastest novels are at 69shu.com. True person Xinghe began to point out the key points and tricks of changing faces and transforming in detail to Zhang Yu. When you see someone on the road and can transform into their appearance within a second, lifelike and indistinguishable, then this skill can be considered almost mastered. As for Bai Zhenzhen, true person Xinghe put forward requirements in another direction. Zhen, you are very fast, but you are too prone to taking risks in actual combat. It's okay if you encounter someone who is not faster than you, but if you encounter an opponent who is faster than you, you may be instantly killed. In fact, speed is not only suitable for close combat, but also for long-range combat. After all, if you run fast enough, you can run while fighting, so that you can get hurt less. You should first learn a basic hidden weapon technique, lay a good foundation, and then further explore it when you go above. So, under the guidance of true person Xinghe, Bai Zhenzhen first learned a key refining technique, due to the simple conditions on the first layer, and began to come into contact with hidden weapons. Inside the apartment, Zhang Yu twisted his body, his bones crackling, like great dragons running through the muscles, all over his body. Spring and Autumn Endless Zen level 20. Physical strength level 10.73. Finally, the Spring and Autumn Endless Zen, as a body refining technique, has also reached level 20. However, relying solely on this body refining technique, it took more than 3 months to cultivate to this point. Then I may have to spend 3 or 4 years to increase my physical strength, to the limit of foundation building, level 20. Considering that each level of physical strength will become stronger and stronger, and it will become more and more difficult to cultivate, requiring more and more nutrition, this time may be longer. The immortal resources on the first layer are still too limited. Zhang Yu sighed and began to feel the effect of the level 20 Spring and Autumn Endless Zen. After this technique reached level 20, Zhang Yu could temporarily enter a state of suspended animation, or hibernation, through the longevity mana condensed by the Spring and Autumn Endless Zen. After entering this state, my ability to digest drugs, metabolize drug toxins, and even recover from physical damage will greatly increase. Zhang Yu thought to himself, my self-healing power is really getting stronger and stronger. A moment later, as the alarm clock rang, it was time for the call agreed upon with Zhang Pianpian. As soon as Zhang Yu walked out of the training room, he saw Bai Zhenzhen already operating the screen in the living room. A few minutes later, as the screen flashed, Zhang Pianpian's figure had already emerged from it. Zhang Pianpian in the screen had a halo rising behind her head, looking silvery and bright, like a bright moon. A line of words appeared above her head: Wanfa University, Talisman Department, Foundation Building Realm, 49th place. Bai Zhenzhen exclaimed, Mom, what is that above your head? Zhang Pianpian explained, I recently broke into the top 100 in the department, so I chose to start displaying my ranking on my head. You must remember that ranking is very important in university, whether it is students, teachers, or school leaders, all are in different rankings. The higher the ranking, the more ranking lists you occupy, the higher the value of the person. There is only one possibility for people who do not display their ranking on their heads, that is, the ranking is too low, and showing it is self-defeating. Such people are weeds in the university, and they are not valued wherever they go. Listening to Zhang Pianpian's words, Bai Zhenzhen nodded and said, I understand that. It's like the underachieving students in Songyang high school. When they get to university, it's all about rankings, right? Those with high rankings can ruthlessly humiliate those with low rankings, and the lower the ranking, the more they are considered the dregs of society. Bai Zhenzhen's eyes lit up, and she said, University is a world where ranking is everything. Zhang Pianpian smiled slightly and said, You understand very quickly. After you enter university, you must also improve your ranking as soon as possible. Then, Jiang Pianpian pointed to the halo behind her head and explained, as for this halo, it's the symbol of a student union cadre, a unique spirit realm fluctuation of the student union. You can also think of it as a special effect. You can see it directly through the screen now, but when you get up there, only those with ocular Dharma bodies can see it. By the way, do you have ocular Dharma bodies yet? Zhang Yu said, I have one. Asian plans to buy a basic model as a backup and take it with her when we go. So, Zhang Yuan by Zhenjin told Zhang Pianpian about their gains during this time and the guidance from real person Xinghe. After listening, Zhang Pianpian nodded slightly. Real person Xinghuo's guidance for you is very good. The choice of major also makes sense. I think you can indeed take this path. Next, the two sides had another exchange, mainly with Zhang Pianpian giving them pointers on preparations to make before going to university and teaching them some of the rules of the university. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, there are only 3 months left until the college entrance examination. On this day, Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjun had just arrived at the training ground in the city center when they felt a substantive killing intent sweeping over them, frantically impacting their sea of consciousness. Then, their eyes went dark, and they were blown away by an explosion. At the same time, real person Xinghuo's voice entered their ears. Starting today, I will ambush you anytime, anywhere. Especially Zhang Yu. Real person Xinghe glanced at Zhang Yu, who had already gotten up and was bouncing around, and said indifferently, You're so good at taking a beating. I'd be sorry for your talent if I didn't hit you hard. Zhang Yu's face darkened, and he didn't know whether to cry or laugh, because he had such a Jindan expert diligently guiding him. Just then, Zhang Yu's cell phone vibrated slightly, and a line of information popped up. Foundation Establishment Cultivator Yu Xing'an has entered within 100 meters of you. Welcome to follow Yu Xing'an on various platforms. He will be live streaming his cultivation at 10 p.m. every night. Zhang Yu looked up and found that the person who came was Yu Xing'an, who had obtained the Foundation Establishment Qualification Certificate after participating in the Foundation Establishment examination for the second time, and had completed Foundation Establishment a month ago, and Li Zulian, the daughter of real person Xinghe. Real person Xinghe said, Xing'an, you will train with Zhang Yu today. Zulian, you will guide by Zhenjin. I will be ambushing any of you at any time, from the side. Real person Xinghe looked at the few of them, and thought to himself, they will cultivate together for a period of time, and cultivate their relationship, by the way. Yu Xing'an walked up to Zhang Yu, and the look in his eyes was a little complicated. He thought, I was the first to be accepted as a disciple by that old geezer, but now I'm being called over to be Zhang Yu's sparring partner. It was impossible for Yu Xing'an not to feel any envy or jealousy. But at the same time, he also understood that those with good grades deserved preferential treatment in this world. If he were real person Xinghe, he would definitely value Zhang Yu more. All I can do is continue to catch up with him through my own efforts. Maybe one shot from him now can earn more money than 10 shots from me. Then I'll shoot 20 times. 30 times. I'll catch up with him through hard work. In the next moment, Zhang Yu and Yu Xing'an had already collided together, under the guidance of real person Xinghe, hindering each other's muscle strength, and improving their respective body refining effects. Looking at this scene, real person Xinghe nodded slightly, thinking to himself, Zhang Yu and Xing'an will enter Wanfa University together next, and they are both Foundation Establishment cultivators in the Civil Engineering Department. They will probably cultivate and work together for the next few years. Taking advantage of this time to let them become familiar with the feeling of refining their bodies together, they can continue to refine their bodies together and become each other's body refining equipment in the second level, saving money and improving efficiency at the same time. Then, even if I'm not by their side, they can help each other and improve together. Just then, real person Xinghe frowned. Yu Xing'an, why are you always glancing at Zulian? Zhang Yu, you should also focus. With a bang, a substantive martial arts will swept towards the two of them, causing their minds to shake, and they desperately resisted by circulating their cultivation methods. Real person Xinghe turned his head, and glanced at Li, Zulian, and Bai Zhenjin, who were refining their bodies together, and thought to himself, these two kids keep selling goods to Hongta. How can they still have so much energy? 1 month before the college entrance examination. Inside the protected area, the spiritual vein was surging with wind and clouds, and massive amounts of spiritual energy formed a visible substance, turning into a huge tornado in the sky. falling towards the depths of the spiritual vein, as if connecting the sky and the earth. Xiong Yu was sitting cross-legged at the landing point of the spiritual vein, and the huge mana vortex around him was constantly swallowing the spiritual energy falling from the sky, incorporating it into the mana circulation within his body, and finally refining it into his own mana in the Dantian. Azure Vortex Key Skill Level 20. Mana 261.9. Xiong Yu thought to himself, although the total length of the breathing exercises is not long, each time they are performed in the spiritual vein, the growth of mana is still very rapid, and the Azure Vortex Key skill has finally reached level 20. Now, the Remnant Bull Self-Sacrifice Art, the Spring and Autumn Endless Sin, and the Azure Vortex Key skill have all reached the foundation establishment limit. As long as I cultivate step by step, it won't be a problem to temper my Dao heart, mana, and physical strength to the foundation establishment limit in the future. But Xiong Yu knew that it was not his style to cultivate slowly, with these 3 cultivation methods. What's more, after going to the second level, he might have to face Wang Yin's hostility. In order to better compete with the geniuses above, he must become stronger and cultivate faster. It's a pity that I can't buy any useful foundation establishment cultivation methods on the first level. I have to find a way after I go to university. Thinking that he would be taking the college entrance examination in a month, and then ascending to the second level to start his university life, Xiong Yu felt both anticipation, nervousness, and unease. And why hasn't Fuheim woken up yet? It's been more than half a year. How long is she going to sleep this time? Shaking his head and temporarily suppressing the distracting thoughts in his mind, Xiong Yu began to feel the effects of the level 20 Azure Vortex Key skill. The level 20 Azure Vortex Key skill can accelerate the operation of the mana vortex and improve the efficiency of spiritual energy absorption and mana refining as the breathing exercises continue. According to Xiong Yu's estimation, this acceleration will reach its limit after about 1 hour of continuous breathing exercises, which can increase the efficiency of breathing exercises by 30%. Most new small said in 6-9 book bar first issue. Not bad. Xiong Yu nodded secretly. In this way, his mana will be even higher when he goes to university. However, in the future, every time I come to the spiritual vein, I can start renting for a longer period of time. Just then, Bai Zhen's voice came easy, it's almost time, let's go. The figures of the two shot out, and the foundation establishment level body stirred up a gust of wind, and in the blink of an eye, they came to the ticket gate of the protected area. Anon greeted them finished cultivating. Because of Xiong Yu's help, Anon has become the mascot for collecting fees at the ticket gate. Not only has her salary increased, but her working hours have also decreased a lot. Looking at the other party's increasingly furry tail and the fatter head, Xiong Yu waved his hand and said, "Yeah, see you tomorrow." The figures of Xiong Yu and Bai Zhen faced the setting sun and sped along the highway towards home. Zhao Tianxing's voice came from the phone, laughing and crying, "I'm doing pretty well recently. After all, I've become a soul cultivator student, so I don't have to pay for food anymore, but this internet fee, electricity fee." In the next moment, Zhao Tianxing suddenly disconnected. Looking at the message that the other party's user account has been suspended, Xiong Yu sighed helplessly, recharged the other party with 100, and then joked, "Lao Zhao, what kind of websites do you usually visit? This internet fee is a bit too much." Zhao Tianxing said helplessly, soul cultivator students are charged commercial internet fees, and the price will increase in stages, so the internet fee is easy to spend quickly. But I can already work, and I will return your internet fee when I earn money. After chatting with the other party for a few words, Xiong Yu put away his phone and felt a weight behind him. It was Bai Zhen who jumped on his back and hugged his neck. "Yuzi, it's been a long time since I rode you. Let me ride you today." Listening to the other party's words, Xiong Yu could feel that Bai Zhen was a little different today. Bai Zhen leaned on Xiong Yu's back, listening to the powerful sounds of Xiong Yu's muscles erupting, and said with a smile, "Yuzi, 3 years ago, I never thought that I could really get into the top 10. Xiong Yu nodded and said, "Yeah, who would have thought?" The past 6 months or so can be described as the most fulfilling and comfortable days for Xiong Yu and Bai Zhen since entering high school. There is no oppression from the rich, no pressure from opponents, just improving themselves step by step, with the help of many people, feeling themselves getting closer and closer to their goal. Xiong Yu even felt that even in Kongshu, he felt a little bit of happiness. And at this moment, looking at the setting sun in front of him, Songyang City, which was dyed a layer of gold, Zhang Yu said with emotion. Everyone is getting better and better. We will also get better and better. It's not just about getting into the top 10. We will also take the master's degree, the doctorate, break through to Jindan together, break through to Yuanying, and enter the Wanfa sect together. The corners of Bai Zhenzhen's mouth couldn't help but curl up, as if she had already imagined the beautiful future of the two climbing Kongshu together, and a sense of warmth that she had never felt before rose in her heart. Back in the apartment, the two had dinner together, and Bai Zhenzhen suddenly received a message that the ocular Dharma body she had ordered had arrived. When Bai Zhenzhen came to the express station across the street to pick up the goods, she received a call from Zhang Yu. Yeah, I'm picking up the goods. The thing you ordered has also arrived. Okay, I'll help you bring it up. Hello. Where's everyone? Bai Zhenzhen looked at her phone strangely. The network signal clearly showed that it was normal, so why couldn't she hear the other party's voice?